My guest today is Tabitha Bagwell, and this is from Redeemed Accounting. This is the most stressful time of the year for a lot of us folks. It's a horrible day to get a letter from the IRS, isn't it?
Yes, because you can't get in touch with anyone.
And if you do, it's the wrong number. Either you get put on hold for 2 weeks.
Or, yeah, you sit on hold for an extremely long amount of time and then they can't answer your question because
They don't know.
they
And
don't
they
know.
it's the wrong answer anyway.
Or a wrong department.
Yeah.
They can't handle it.
Yeah. 2 weeks later, you come back and still, oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tabitha, let's talk about taxes. The difference between the IRS and Gestapo is I can spell IRS, okay? But now, Trump had been talking about the big, beautiful bill before he got elected. What is the big, beautiful tax bill?
Well, there's a whole lot of things that go into the big, beautiful tax bill.
Good or bad, or both?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good that came out of it. You've got a lot of people that are talking about the no tax on overtime, which obviously they're going to cap that. But not all of your overtime. It's only the premium portion.
What's the premium portion of overtime? I thought overtime was overtime.
Overtime is one and a half your wages. And so the premium portion is that half portion. And so that is the only thing that's going to be deductible on your federal tax return, that half portion of the overtime. And then the state kind of mixed it in there, and they're only doing their overtime exemption through June. So any overtime you got January to June is going to be exempt to your state taxes, but then July to December is going to be subject to state taxes.
Just the state of Alabama.
That's just state of Alabama.
Okay, so, but is it subject to change, or is it written in stone already? That's July to
Yes, that is set. They stopped their overtime exemption at June.
Who didn't know that? Okay, they gonna get their hand in my pie.
Yeah.
But now, what about Social Security? Trump has been touting he's going to do away with the Social Security tax. I know I've been taxed on mine already one time, and I get my Social Security, and there's another tax I have to pay on top of that. And that's taxation without representation. I thought that's one reason we fought the Revolutionary War.
Right. It's double taxation, actually, because that Social Security you're receiving is a tax you paid while you worked.
Mm-hmm.
That is the 7.65% that comes out of your check regardless. It has to come out. And then once you start receiving your benefits, and if you're still working or you have other income, then you have a limit before they start taxing your Social Security again. And they can tax up to 80% of it. And then, but one thing with the one big beautiful bill is that they're giving seniors 65 and older.
If you don't make a certain amount of money.
Well, you get an extra $6,000 standard deduction. But it does phase out. Once you get over that 150 mark, or to the 150 mark, it starts phasing out at a point. And I've done some dummy tax returns just to see if the Social Security is not taxable, and it is still showing it as taxable, but that standard deduction is offsetting it. So it hasn't, to the ones I've saw, it has not it's helped them, but it's still
completed in.
No, they didn't have any tax obligation, but I was expecting to see it as not taxable at all, since the way they presented the bill.
Now, how's this going to affect corporations like S corporations or LLCs? Or will it affect it?
As far as what?
Taxation, as far as taxation, are there any changes to those corporations?
Well, no, there's not necessarily any, because they're pass-through entities in themselves. So they don't get taxed at their corporate level. They get passed through to your personal level. But there are new things that they're, like bonus depreciation, they're allowing you 100% in the year placed into service. You still have the Section 179 deduction, a year placed into service. And then they put other credits in there for specialized industries. Say, for instance, if you were a CNC shop,
Well, let's just say, what if we were a radio station? How would it affect radio?
they're not putting a radio station into the specialized category. It's like a machine shop. Machine shop's what I'm saying. A machine shop, for example, is one of the special categories. If you build a building, which is generally depreciated over 39 years straight line, but in this bill, they allow you to depreciate bonus depreciation on it if it is specifically for making something in the U.S. And then also you've got a personal someone, if they bought a car last year and it was made in America, they get to count up to $10,000 of interest, car loan interest, if they have it.
Now, is that under the Big Beautiful Bill, or is that just...
That's part of the Big Beautiful Bill.
What about if you just buy a vehicle, can you depreciate it? Or you a truck?
If you have a company and there's a purpose for it, then you have depreciation for that vehicle. There's going to be regulations or limits to it, just depending on how much it's used and the purpose. But yeah, you can depreciate a vehicle.
Tabitha Bagwell is my guest this morning on the Friday morning show, and we're talking IRS and Gestapo. And now, pros and cons of filing. You know, you see all these commercials on TV, hear them on radio about file with us. You know, online. Is there pros or what are pros and cons of filing taxes online?
I would say it's only going to be as good as what you put in. The information that you put in is all they know. They're not asking any other questions, and if you only know to answer the question one way, or is there something else that they should be asking me or I should be telling them and you don't know, I would say is the downfall with using a program, especially when you're going to get real involved.
What about these people who say, hey, well, I can get your taxes back in 24 hours?
That's a lie.
Bold face lie.
They're doing some kind of third party bridge something, because the IRS has their own timetable and it comes when they send it.
And the IRS is slower than molasses on a January day, isn't it?
Yeah, they might compete with Alabama.
Now, I know that we talked about our personal income taxes. They hold you accountable for everything, don't they? What about yard sales? I've got a bunch of clothes that I've outgrown, and you know, are you supposed to report that tax of that income? It's yours to begin with.
Yeah, they want you to. They want you to report those yard sales or anything that you have.
I mean, what real dummy is going to say, okay, I sold $1,000 worth. Here you go, but here's it was my money to begin with. It was my clothes, you know, and it was taking up my room. So I'm going to go back out and buy new clothes, and I'm going to spend that money so you go and get your taxes anyway.
Right. That's what they're expecting, but
I don't know that okay. Very few would do that.
Very few people ever do that.
Now, what about, we've talked about the Social Security on the taxes and so forth. Now, when's that going to phase out the $6,000 on Social Security?
The $6,000 is a extra standard deduction. And you have to be 65 and over to receive that extra standard deduction. And if you're single, it's $75,000, and if you're married, filing jointly, it's $150,000 is the phase outs. Is when the phase outs are supposed to start, is my understanding.
But the thing is, you need to have your taxes done, and now's the time to start getting all the paperwork together that you've been promising. I'm gonna do it differently this year. We always say that, though.
Yes, many people do.
I'm gonna do it month by month. Okay, I'm gonna put everything in that is January, February, and we get to the year's end, and now I can't find January nor February.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way it normally is?
Yeah, there's lots of people that happens to them.
Do they bring their tax stuff in the paper? No, they don't know what paper's back. Plastic bags now, so you figure it out.
Some do. Some do. Those are not ones you like see coming.
How's the best way to get, I guess, organized as far as getting all your paperwork together?
If you're just a personal tax return, then you could look at your bank statement monthly or even quarterly if it's not a whole lot, and just go ahead and make sure that you have all your contributions, your donations, medical, all the things that you can count that may not necessarily be beneficial for your federal side, but they could help you on your state side to offset your obligation or tax liability. I would just say to keeping a better handle on it monthly or at least quarterly, so that you're not just scrambling at the end of the year, because I don't remember. It's hard to keep up.
I mean, I've got a notebook in January, February. I went to office back to Barcelona, actually office over here in not Brian, but the other office, Ricky Krebs' place. Bought the little monthly dividers, okay? And that's the way that it's a good start to stay organized. Got pockets inside of it. And any medical bills or something like that I may not have a check for that, I just pay for in my own pocket and stick those in there.
Right. You definitely want to keep those receipts, because they are not going to rely on your bank statement.
And another thing is, the IRS is the only company that proves you guilty until you prove yourself innocent.
Well, if you go under audit, you're pretty much proven guilty until you can prove to them that what you claimed is accurate. Yes. And if it's a federal or a state audit, that's where you're going to stand. You've got to prove that you can claim what you claimed.
What about vitamins? Can you claim vitamins? My doctor says you need some vitamin A, you need vitamin C, you need this, and this.
I think that is going to be, you're going to have the doctor's orders, and then you're going to have to stand firm with it. And it's going to depend on the auditor that you get, to whether they're just a firm stickler on it or what they allow. I've saw cases where they don't allow it, and I've saw cases where they do allow it.
I got tickled. I heard a story one day from an IRS agent. He said he had audited this one man, and it was like he had claimed $8,000 in contributions to his church. He said, and as the pass the offering plate, I threw my regular dollar in. and then realized I was only doing $1, and I made a lot more than that on a weekly basis. And so he said, then they began to haunt me. So,
yeah, that's what. And that they're getting tighter on that. They have placed a threshold on contributions this year. I can't find my number right now of charitable contributions. They put where you have to pass it, and how much they're going to allow you to count.
That's like we give a lot to the missions and things, Jimmy Hill Mission and Global Care for Kids and things of that nature. A lot of times you don't get a receipt, but I know where I gave them. And a lot of times there's a vision in there anyway that they don't have time to give you a receipt, and so they just give you a piece of paper, and I fill it out myself.
Yes, and that's what you would do. When you do a donation like that, you need to have an itemized list of what you left, because that's your proof. And you have it from them, and that's your proof.
Well, this is one of the most stressful times of the seasons for the taxpayers, because you got to April 15th, or have they extended it again?
As of right now, it's April 15th.
April 15th. That's a horrible time of the year.
Oh, it's a hard one.
It runs your spring break.
Puts a whole different aspect on it. Yeah, that's true.
Tabitha Bagwell, my guest this morning from Redeemed Accounting here in Coleman. How can people get in contact with you? 735-4200?
That's correct. 256-735-4200.
Tabitha, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.